Bullying. It is a huge problem worldwide. From the kid in the back of the class who, when he goes home, has kids throwing cans at his head, calling him stupid. So the girl in the hallway who you called fat today, so now she's going home and starving herself because she doesn't want you to think that. To This Day by Koyzan shows several different stories about kids who have been bullied and what they have done to themselves so that you won't think that about them. All those horrible names that you called them, that we call them. To This Day by Koyzan. When I was a kid, I used to think that pork chops and karate chops were the same thing. I thought they were both pork chops! Because my grandmother thought it was cute, because they were my favorite, she let me keep doing it. Not really a big deal. One day, before I realized fat kids were not designed to climb trees, I fell out of a tree and bruised the right side of my body. I didn't want to tell my grandmother about it because I was afraid I'd get in trouble for playing somewhere I shouldn't have been. A few days later, the gym teacher noticed the bruise and I got sent to the principal's office. From there, I was sent to another small room with a really nice lady who asked me all kinds of questions about my life at home. I saw no reason to lie. As far as I was concerned, life was pretty good. I told her, whenever I'm sad, my grandmother gives me karate chops. This led to a full-scale investigation, and I was removed from the house for 3 days until they finally decided to ask how I got the bruises. News of this silly little story quickly spread throughout the school, and I earned my first nickname, Pork Chop. To this day, I hate pork chops. I'm not the only kid who grew up this way. Surrounded by people who used to say that rhyme about sticks and stones. As if broken bones hurt more than the names we got called, and we got called them all. So we grew up believing no one would ever fall in love with us. That we'd be lonely forever. That we'd never meet someone to make us feel like the sun was something they built for us in their tool shed. So broken heartstrings bled the blues as we tried to empty ourselves of everything so we would feel nothing. Don't tell me that hurts less than a broken bone. That an ingrown life is something a surgeon can cut away. That there's no way for it to metastasize, it does. She was 8 years old. Our first day of grade 3 when she got called ugly. We both got moved to the back of the class so we were getting bombarded by spitballs. But the school halls were a battleground where we found ourselves outnumbered day after wretched day. We used to stay inside for recess because outside was worse. Outside, we'd have to rehearse running away, or learn to stand still like statues, giving no clues that we were there in grade 5. They taped a sign to the front of her desk that read, "Beware of dog." To this day, despite a loving husband, she doesn't think that she's beautiful because of a birthmark that takes up a little less than half of her face. Kids used to say she looks like a wrong answer that someone tried to erase but couldn't quite get the job done. And they'll never understand that she's raising 2 kids at home whose definition of beauty begins with the word mom. Because they see her heart before they see her skin, and that she's only ever always been amazing. He was a broken branch, grafted onto the wrong family tree. Adopted, but not because his parents opted for a different destiny. He was age 3 when he became 1 part left alone and 2 parts tragedy. Started therapy in 8th grade, had a personality made up of tests and pills, lived like the uphills were mountains and the downhills were cliffs, 4/5 suicidal, a tidal wave of antidepressants, and an adolescence of being called pauper. 1 part because of the pills, 99 parts because of the cruelty. Tried to kill himself in grade 10 because of a kid who had the audacity to tell him, "Get over it." As if depression is something that can be remedied by any of the contents found in a first aid kit. To this day, he's a stick of TNT lit from both ends, who can tell you the way the sky bends in the moments before it's going to fall. And despite an army of friends who call him an inspiration, he remains a conversation piece between 2 people who don't understand that sometimes being drug-free has less to do with an addiction and more to do with sanity. We weren't the only kids who grew up this way. Every school was a big top circus tent. And the pecking order went from acrobats to lion tamers, from clowns to carnies. All of these were miles ahead of who we were. We were freaks. Lobster-clawed boys and bearded ladies. Oddities trying to play, spin the bottle, and kiss the wounded parts of ourselves and heal. But at night, while the others slept, kept walking the tightrope. It was practice, and yeah, some of us fell. But I want to tell them that all of this is just debris. Left over when we decided to crush all the things that we used to be. And if you can't see anything beautiful about yourself, get a better mirror. Look a little closer. Stare a little longer. Because there's something inside you that made you keep going even when everyone told you to quit. You built a cast around your broken heart. You signed it yourself. You signed it. They were wrong. Because maybe you didn't belong to a group or a clique. Maybe they decided to pick you last for basketball or everything. Maybe you used to bring bruises and broken teeth to show and tell but never told. Because how can you hold your ground when everyone you know wants to bury you beneath it? You have to believe that they were wrong. They have to be wrong. Why else would we still be here? We grew from the stem and the root that we were not what we were called. That we are not broken cars stalled out sitting empty somewhere on a highway. And if in some way we are, don't worry. We only got out to walk and get gas. We are graduating members of the class of We Made It. Not the faded echo of voices crying out names. Never heard me. Of course, they did. But our lives will only ever always continue to be a balancing act that has less to do with pain and more to do with beauty.